lesson today is about triangles. It will be lesson 8, chapter 14. The words we'll be looking at today are right angle, an angle with a measure of exactly 9 degrees. And here's our example of a right angle. An acute angle, an angle that measures less than 90 degrees. And here's an acute angle. These are all words that we've already had, but they're going to relate to our triangles today. An obtuse angle is an angle that measures more than 90 degrees. So here's an example of obtuse angle. And the thing that we want to think about with triangles is the most basic fact about a triangle is that all the angles add up to 180 degrees. Like a circle is 360, a triangle is half of that, so it's 180 degrees. In here, I'm going to show you a little bit of the right acute and obtuse. So remember, the acute is less than 90 degrees. The right angle is exactly 90 degrees. And it always has this little thing here. Well, I'll do it in red since that's how they usually show it. And the obtuse is wider than 90 degrees. Just like this. So when we're looking at the triangles, we will want to see, does it have acute angles, right angles, obtuse angles? Now, if it is an acute triangle, it will have 3 acute angles. Maybe I should write that below. Again, you can put this in a notebook if you want. 3 acute angles. And a right angle has 1 right angle, a right triangle, I mean. And obtuse triangle has 1 obtuse angle. Sorry, that's my phone keeps going off. I'm sure you recognize it from school. So these are the things we need to remember. Acute has 3, all 3 of them must be acute. Right angle has 1 right angle. Obtuse has 1 right angle. I'm going to mute that. So today we are looking at triangles and looking at how different ideas about geometry are connected. And so like I said, the degrees of a triangle, all the angles added up, is half of a circle, which is 180 degrees. A circle is 360, a triangle is 180 degrees. And so in example 1, the sandwich is cut in half. Classify the triangle represented by the half sandwich as right, acute, or obtuse. Determine if any of the sides are perpendicular. Okay, so we're going to look over here and we see that they're showing us this right here. The first thing we'll notice is that if you extend these this way, you can see that this is perpendicular. Remember, perpendicular has an intersection with 4 right angles in it. Okay, so all the angles are 90 degrees. So this is perpendicular. Sorry, the writing in this is not as easy as on the whiteboard. Okay, so it does have a perpendicular cross section there. A right angle has one right angle. So they show us right here, it does have one right angle. How many right angles are there? One. Okay, so now I'm going to look at acute angle. An acute triangle has 3 acute angles. How many acute angles are there? So we can see right here and right here are acute angles. So there are 2. But we know acute angle needs 3. A right angle needs 1 right angle. An obtuse triangle has 1 obtuse angle. How many obtuse angles are there? There aren't any, right? Because we've already identified these 2 as acute, and this one here is a right angle, so there are 0. And I did say a right triangle has 1 right angle. I think a moment ago I called it just an angle. Sorry. And so we're going to come down here. So the triangle is an but we are going to pick right, so we will say a right triangle. Okay, and we will go down. And you can write in your book if you have a stylus that will work with this. If you were doing it online like this, and I will try to get online and show you how you could do a snip of the screen if you wanted to show me that you did your work. But right now I'm just going to focus on the key concepts. An obtuse triangle has 1 obtuse angle. An acute triangle has 3 acute angles. Sorry, I keep saying it wrong. A right triangle has 1 right angle. The 2 sides that form the right angle are perpendicular, which that is right here. It shows where it goes across. Okay, so we're going to turn the page. And you'll remember from 2nd and 3rd grade where they talked about vertices or vertex. Vertex is singular, so 1 point is a vertex. More than 1 points would be called vertices or corners. Okay, so it's showing you right here. This is vertex A. If I'm talking about vertex A, B, and C, then I will say vertices A, B, and C, because that's more than 1. So they show you here the vertices A, B, and C. Line segments, remember they're a line that begins and ends with the end point, doesn't go on forever. So there's line segments AB, line segment BC, and line segment AC. I guess I would go down this way. Example 2, classify the triangle as a right, acute, or obtuse. Identify the vertices and line segments of the angle. The triangle is A or an. When I look right here, I can see this is obtuse. So it does have 2 acute angles, but to be an acute triangle, it has to have 3 acute angles. And I know this is not a right angle, so this is obtuse. That makes this an obtuse triangle. Because it has 1 obtuse angle. Oops. Okay, so I was not recording when I thought I was recording. And, oh man. Okay, so I might be restating myself, I'm not sure, but The triangle is an obtuse angle. It has one obtuse angle. It has no right angles, and it only has two acute angles, so it has to be an obtuse angle because it has one obtuse angle. There are three vertices. They are L, P, and M. There are three line segments. They are line segment L, M, MP, and line segment LP. Okay, so going down to the guided practice. Classify the triangle as acute, right, or obtuse. Again, I do see two acute angles, but to be acute, it must have three. So I'm judging this angle. Is it a right angle or is it obtuse? And I can clearly see that this is much more than a right angle would be. If you're having trouble, you can always hold a card or a little piece of paper up, like I showed you in class, to see if it matches with the edge of a piece of paper, because that will always be a right angle. So the triangle is obtuse. Its zero sides are perpendicular, because remember, perpendicular intersecting lines are made with all right angles. So that would mean that this one here would be something like that if this was a right angle, but it's not. So we know that there are zero perpendicular sides. Again, today I will have you do the My Homework page for Lesson 8, and it's page 923 and page 924. And with this one, the only one I think you might need help with is this one here. Sorry my writing is looking so sloppy here. I was struggling with my pen. And they ask us on number 5 to justify conclusions. Can a triangle have two right angles? Explain. Which we know that a right triangle has one right angle. That's a way that we use, so when we're trying to classify, that's one of the parameters that we list, is if it has one right angle. And here I put no, a triangle cannot have two right angles because it would be impossible to close the shape. And I drew up here a picture of if two sides had right angles, they wouldn't pitch in towards each other to where you could close the shape. Okay, so that's the only one I think you'll need help with. And let me know if you need any help with this lesson. I think it's pretty straightforward. And good luck.